The reason why I had asked Sonia not to introduce me is because she's the president of the PFC, that's the Pri fan club. And she has a tendency to, I would say, go into hyperbole about me. And then I get so embarrassed that I end up leaving the room. But I appreciate your kind words introduction, and I'd like to thank Poonam. I'd like to thank Juliet. I'd like to thank Sonny and the other members of the committee for your kind invitation to speak to such a distinguished group of ladies. It's a rather unsettling feeling for me to only see ladies. Oh, there's a gentleman here. I was looking for you. And but in any case, this is as we say, it's a short 15-minute presentation. Poonam has given me the challenge of, as you see in the title here, to talk about career. Prospects, issues, and options for 2013. So it's a bit of a challenge for me to try to do that, but I think I've got it down, to 15. So hopefully it will generate some questions. So first of all, let me just say a little bit about who Pri is. Somebody asked me, what do I do here? And I said, well, I basically peek through keyholes and I eavesdrop in lifts. Particularly I love Citibank Tower because the lifts are all covered with mirrors, and I can look through the mirrors and eavesdrop on people's conversations, and then if they're interested, then I'll approach them. And in this society, you can get away with it. At my age, they say, well, he's just a what is it now? A harmless old man, so it's okay. And then I take advantage of that. But in any case, somebody else, I don't remember the name, but a lady I met early on with green nails and green, the Echo lady. There she is. So what was your name? Martin, yes. Martin had asked me what I did, and I went into that long explanation. He said, you're a headhunter. So this is what I'm sometimes called a headhunter, but the fancy term is senior executive search consultant. And why is that? Is because my segmentation is only at the BOD level, or the fancy term is C-suite. I've had over 30 years of work experience in America, Europe, Africa, and Asia, and as my esteemed colleague to the right here had asked, you have a slight mixture of American and Canadian and what have you accent, and it's probably because I did spend 7 years in Washington, 4 years in India, and 18 years in Canada. Before my mother called me. I was 38 years old at that time in 1984, and she called me and she told me she was ashamed of me. She was ashamed of me because at the age of 38 I was still single. And every time she tried to get hold of me, at night she could never get hold of me. She said, "Kluyuran terus." Kluyuran means I'm just running around. And to some extent it was true. But at this point in time, she said, "I want you to come home now." Okay. Now, part of my business and part in your activity is how do you assess people in 5 or 10 minutes? So I'm going to ask you. You've already seen me, heard me now for 5 minutes. Some of you have talked to me a little bit more. What did I say to my mother after spending 30 years overseas? How did I respond to that question?
No.
Okay, so Juliet says no, and Ibu Ineka says no. Does anybody else have any other
I thought you
comment?
said, yes, of course, yes, I'll be there. And then
Okay, Ibu Tina. So Ibu Tina is saying, of course. So she's saying like this.
I bet you said, I don't like this, but then I'll do it for you.
Okay, I don't like this, but I'll do it for you. Okay, maybe one more. The lady in red. Yes, I'm coming. Okay, I'm sorry, your name? Linda, Ibu Linda. Well, I tell you, Ibu Linda, I have not even had the privilege of meeting except just now. But Ibu Linda's a sense of assessment is is incredible, you know. And in fact, I will keep you on my radar. Because assessment is very important. How do you assess situations? And Ibu Linda is correct. I said yes. So I immediately said, yes, Ibu. Ngi. I will go home now. And I remember I told my boss, Peter Morgan, and he's an Englishman, and Peter Morgan said, you're such a wimp, you know, mama's boy, you know, get out of my sight. And I immediately went home to visit my mother, and then my mother being the Javanese, central Javanese woman that she is, she immediately took me. She said, I arrived in the evening. She took me at 7 a.m. the next day to go to Central Java, to Solo, to meet the Orang Pintar. This is a parang mga Ibu Sri. And then she went there, and then she said, you give my son two things, very simple things, a woman and a job. So 5 days later, I got a call from Pricewaterhouse Canada to go back for an interview in Canada, in Vancouver, for a position in Indonesia, Pricewaterhouse Indonesia. And fortunately, I got it. And he, Paul Higgins was the regional MD. He told me, you know, Pri, you really don't know anything, you know, and you're just a paper pusher, because I was a government of Canada official for about 12 years. And then he stopped. He said, but I like you. Yeah. And I like you because you ask good questions. Yeah. And that you're positive, so similar to what Falco was saying earlier. Now, I'm telling you all these stories because this is part of how to position yourself, some of the qualities here, and why I also wanted to introduce myself, to highlight some of the characteristics that we headhunters are looking for, and what based on the feedback from clients. Anyway, to just put a cap on the story was I got the job, and then 1 month later I met Jung Yanti, and I proposed to her a whirlwind romance. 2 months later, I asked her to marry me. 1 month, I met the family at Ngelamar, and then 3 months later, we got married. And 27 years later, we're here. So that's
Great.
So it's what is the lessons learned there? The lessons learned there is you obey your mother. I've been formally educated, as I mentioned to you, and that also will shape the way I present and my orientation to this presentation. I've set up 3 profit centers. Now, what is the purpose? I'm going to ask Ibu Linda again, because I'm now tantalized by Ibu Linda's orientation. Why would I even say this thing? What's the importance of me telling you this? Again, part of an assessment. I don't want to stress you out here. just take a wild guess. You know, sometimes the wild guess is actually good because it comes from within. So where do you think I'm putting this? Okay, well, we'll let Ibu Linda think about it, and perhaps Ibu Juliet.
I want to show us your credentials to build trust.
That's one. What else? That's true to some extent.
That you're more intelligent and you have an outgoing personality, but yet you work really hard.
I work hard.
You have
Yes.
only to.
And the other thing is the business orientation. Yeah. Sonny thinks that I'm wavering, but actually this is also part of the presentation to highlight a mindset that we have to develop. So business orientation is actually quite important. I'll just go very quickly now. Western Indonesian with Eastern values, that's why Ibu Linda was able to pick it up. And I think one of the things that's important, I failed many times, but I'm still learning. Now, 3 questions, not for you to answer, but for you to keep in mind. Should I continue doing what I've been doing throughout my career, even if I don't like it? Okay, I want you to keep that in mind, okay, as we proceed. Should I continue to be doing what I've been doing throughout my career because I like it? Okay. Should I gear my skills and knowledge to what's hot in the market? You know, some people do that. What's hot in the market? What are you looking for? I don't know, anything. You know, as long as it's available in the market. So that's a question you want to think about. So what's the context? Okay, and I only have 8 minutes now, but we're going to go through this quickly. Don't worry about it. I'll do it. Context. This is the context. Okay, this is from. I had the privilege of being given a copy of the McKinsey report a month ago, and the McKinsey report. These are some of the highlights. It's called the McKinsey report on Indonesia, unleashing Indonesia's economy. And it is the 16th largest economy in the world. This is Indonesia. 45 million members of the consuming class. It's 53% of the population in cities producing 74% GDP. You know, so we should be happy that we're here in Indonesia. I am. 55 million skilled workers in the Indonesian economy. Yeah. $0.5 trillion market opportunity in consumer services, agriculture, fisheries, resources, and education. Okay. So this is an area. Now, here's an interesting one too. The next 11. You know, we talked about the economy, the U.S., Europe, and so forth. But look at this. This is the next 11 of emerging engines of growth. Indonesia is ranked number 3. Okay? And look at all these others. These are all basically in Asia or emerging nations of the world. Look at this one. This is Asian growth rates, and Indonesia is at the top of the list. Okay, 6.3 in 2007, 6.7 up to 2013. This is from, from World Bank data. By the way, I'm going to give a copy, a soft copy of this for any of to Sonny, so that anybody who wants to keep it, you know, if you feel useful. Okay. Hot markets. Okay. Hot market information. The hot sectors. Okay. FMCGs, fast-moving consumer goods, energy, professional services. This is very hot now. Very, very hot. Yeah. I'm in fact looking for consultants, not for me, but for other consulting firms. Insurance, pharmaceutical, infrastructure. Okay, these are the hot sectors, and a lot of the hot sectors, particularly for FMCGs, energy, are actually foreign companies from Europe. I have, since the last 7 months, 5 French companies who are setting up companies in Indonesia, startups, and looking for CEOs, members of the board, and so forth. And state-owned enterprise, and you know, you should. This is a great opportunity. You know, I had an opportunity to work 5 years in the state enterprise as a consultant, and I'm impressed. The hot positions. These are some of the hot positions I'm looking for right now. Country manager, FMCG, food industry, startup. Country manager, durable consumer goods, startup. This is French. This is Turkey. CFO, Indonesian life insurance. CFO, JV Airlines. Sales director, Asia Pacific, but based in Jakarta. Again, this is for a foreign FMCG. Regional sales manager, a beer company. Vice president, director, local expat or Indonesian that I'm looking for. Local expat meaning people like Juliet, you know, who you know, white on the outside but brown on the inside. I'm brown on the outside but white on the inside. Production manager, foreign contact lens. There's actually 3 foreign contact lens solution manufacturers coming into. Commissioners. This is also another area, good positioning. Advisors, both expat, Indonesian, and principals is what I was telling you about. Strategic consulting company, because this is an opportunity here. Hot positions, VP marketing, Indonesia. I mean, I'll just tell you, I mean, Garuda just basically gave me 9 positions, and these are just 4 of the positions. Issues or work trends. The issues are, for those of you in corporates, you may start thinking not so much about the organization you're in. I mean, I talked to I bumped into a city banker here, Ibu Marita, and but think about it as a network, you know, as opposed to organizations. Worker expectations now are looking more for personal growth, and that's particularly in the younger ones. People under 30, they all want to be entrepreneurs now. The market now, it's more global. And I have on record, who are writing with me, 16 Indonesians who are overseas. They're either my ex-students or candidates, and they're all working overseas. Knowledge base, it's continuous learning. I mean, forget about the degree as your target, but think about what you get out of the degree. How does this affect you? Okay, I have 3 more slides, sorry. Your career. It's not about one career, but it's about many career. There's an expression in Indonesian called kutu loncat. Forget about it. Don't worry about it. It doesn't exist anymore. It's now kutu loncat with a smile. Okay, you have to be committed not to the organization, but to your profession, to whatever it is that you're good at. Career paths. It's not always about steady upwards, but you can go sideways, downwards, and so forth. And it's all about getting experience. That's all what life is about. Job security. There's no such thing as job security. It's all security here. It starts here. It's about you. Motivation. It's no longer about status, health, or ambition, but it's about freedom. Health is very expensive. I mean, Ibu Lilis Halim, the first thing she said to me, "How are you, Papri? Are you healthy?" "Oh yeah, I'm healthy," and that's important. If you're not healthy, you're dead. Education. People think that after they have their 5 degrees, that's the end of it. You have to keep on studying. Okay, we're coming down to the last thing. This is an Indonesian, a Balinese who I enjoyed meeting. And he talked about, we cannot change life, Gede Prama, but we can change the way we look at life. It's all about your mindset. It's all about the way you look at things. And that's exactly what the speaker earlier on was also saying. Okay, this is the last round here. Options, or how do you shape your perception? So, instead of being job-oriented, be project-oriented. So even if you are in an organization, in a corporate, think about the projects that you're handling in that organization. And then when people ask you in the interviews, you talk about those projects rather than talk about, well, I'm a sales manager here, and I'm looking to be a sales director. It's not about title anymore. It's about responsibilities, scope of responsibilities, security. It's about learning. The more you learn, the more secure you will be about anything. And you don't have to go to a school to do this. Meet people. Entrepreneurial orientation. I mean, that is now where it's at. And in fact, my esteemed colleague Punam, came to me a number of years ago. I forgot how many years ago. And then she asked me, where can I go for a job? And I said, well, listen, with your kind of attitude, and she was one of these people, they keep on jumping up and down. It's like the advertisement in the ATM Mandiri. They're all going like this. So Punam was doing that, while I was interviewing her. And I said, listen, with a person like that, with the way you are, be an entrepreneur, set up your own business. And well, I think you just have to look at the website for Punam, and then you'll see what I mean. Networking, this is probably the key. Every moment that you have is a moment of truth, whether it's 5 seconds, whether it's 5 days or whatever, and those are the moments you have to maximize. You meet somebody in the lift, you think that person's interesting, they look at you twice, they're not out to what is the word now? They're not out to hit on you, but they're just interested to maybe talk to you. That's all it is. So you have to look at it that way. So, 2 more slides. This is from Oprah. So she basically says, and I have to say I admire Oprah. Do the work that you love, work that fulfills you, and if you do the job, if you would do the job and not be paid for it, but you would still do it, then you know that this is the right job for you. And the last thing, and this is the last. The last is about the Headhunter's target, and this is to sum up what I'm just saying. And what do we look for? We look for alert, knowledgeable, and big demand. Again, I don't want to pump up Punam too much, but she's very alert and knowledgeable. Look youthful, but mature. So when I met Punam, she was very young looking, but she had this mature look. There's a maturity about her. I talked about an MBA, but it's not necessary. What I'm talking about is a business orientation. You know, if you're an HR person, it's not about just knowing about HR, but it's about how HR affects your organization. It's a wallet full of business cards. You know, I mean, don't have to say, I don't have my business cards. You know, I mean, this is not a criticism of Mr. Chris Wren, you know, who came up, who's running this Britcham. You know, he came, I gave him my card, and he said, I don't have my card here. And I said, why don't you have your card here? You know, then he ran out to get his card. and you gotta have the cards ready. And forget about the card cases, you know, just put it in your pocket everywhere. And women, you know, put it here, all over the place. Put it in here. Put it in a place that's accessible. Slightly restless, energetic. Again, this is punam all over. Slightly energetic. You look organized, but not perfect. Okay? You are always learning. Yeah? You are plenty of self-confidence and passion. Passion, as Falco was saying. Be healthy. And that's all it is. I mean, this is the Headhunter. On that note, I say thank you very much.